Hello or hello. Say hello. Hello.
Morning or hello?
Hello. Hello. Okay. Sit down.
I'm Steph.
And I'm Kayley.
And we're doing the Rwandan genocide. There were two main ethnic groups in Rwanda, which were the Hutus and Tutsis. The Tutsis were the minority of Rwanda, but they got more farmland, better housing, and even higher positions in the government. The Rwandan genocide occurred in 1994 between the Hutus and Tutsis. April 6, 1994, Rwandan Hutu President Juvenal Habyarimana is killed when his plane is shot out of the sky.
This is the official beginning of the Rwandan genocide. The Hutu extremists were set on killing every Tutsi and moderate Hutu. It was said it had started by extreme Hutu nationalists in the capital of Kigali. The genocide spread throughout the country with staggering speed and brutality, as ordinary citizens were initiated by local officials and the Hutu-powered government to take up arms against their neighbors. The Rwandan genocide is also known as the 100 Days of Slaughter.
What nationalistic goals was the aggressor state attempting to achieve, or why did the genocide occur? Members of the Hutu majority government want to wipe out all the Tutsis. The Hutus wanted the property that the Tutsis owned. They felt that the Tutsis were unfairly granted property, cattle, and position in the government by the Belgians after World War II. The Hutu extremists in the government blamed the entire Tutsi minority for Rwanda's problems, which included political, social, and economic pressures. The Rwandan Patriotic Front, also known as the RPF, is a Tutsi-dominated rebel group.
The Hutus accused all of the Tutsis for supporting this rebel group. President Habyarimana used propaganda to even increase divisions between the Hutu and Tutsi. April 6, 1994, Habyarimana was killed in a plane crash that left no survivors. To this day, no one knows who shot down the plane. Many blame the Hutu extremists, others blame the leaders of the RPF. Within the hour of the plane crash, the slaughtering of Tutsis began. The Hutu prime minister, who was a Hutu moderate, which means she did not believe in the war, she vouched for peace, was killed along with her 10 Belgian bodyguards.
By April 9th, 3 days after the death of the president, extremist Hutu power leaders from the military high command took control of Rwandan government. The Hutu military was very powerful. They were being supported by the French military. The killings in Rwanda began in the country's capital, Kigali, but it quickly spread. Over the next 3 months, over 800,000 people were slaughtered. Radio stations, which were government-sponsored, would speak to all ordinary Rwandan civilians to murder their neighbors. While all of this was happening, the RPF resumed fighting. Now, civil war raged alongside the genocide. The RPF managed to gain control over the majority of Rwanda, including Kigali. When this occurred, over 2 million people, mostly Hutu, fled to refugee camps in neighboring countries. There was absolutely no help from other countries. United Nations only recognized that acts of genocide had likely happened after an estimated 500,000 Rwandans had already been killed. What reasons did the aggressor state hold as justification of the genocide?
The Hutus used equality to justify it. The Tutsi was always favored by the Europeans and were given better jobs, homes, and status. The Hutu wanted to end this.
How and at what point did the genocide end? What were the consequences, and did anything positive come out of it? July of 1994, the genocide comes to an end. After the RPF's victory, they established a coalition government. Pasteur Bizimungu, a Hutu, became president, and Paul Kagame, a Tutsi, became vice president and defense minister. A new constitution was adopted in 2003 that eliminated reference to ethnicity. Pasteur Bizimungu resigned in 2000, and now Paul Kagame remains president to this day.
Rwanda is now one of the most stable and safest countries in Africa. A new policy: we are all Rwandan. It is now very rude to ask what tribe you are. There is no more Hutu, no more Tutsi. Everyone is Rwandan.
Many non-governmental organizations have been created to assist with the survivors and the aftermath of the genocide. One organization, called the Strongest Oak Foundation, helps young adults who are victims of genocide achieve their academic and career goals. This gives many opportunities to Rwandans and help them become leaders in their communities. This is one of the Rwandan genocide survivors. His name is Stephen.
Stephen is a Rwandan genocide survivor who, at the age of 8, lost his parents, brothers, and other family members in April 1994. Stephen narrowly escaped death and was taken to a local hospital to recover from severe physical and emotional wounds. Believing that he was the only surviving member of his family, Stephen sought work as a young houseboy and was eventually adopted by the family who employed him. In an ironic twist of fate, his adopted mother turned out to be the sister of Stephen's parents' killers. Suffering torture and abuse from his adopted mother, Stephen eventually left the family and was miraculously connected by international aid workers to his grandmother and sister, whom he had presumed were dead. Stephen's grandmother enrolled him in high school, and he graduated with a high school diploma. A young leader in his community, Stephen has launched Healing Through the Arts and Drama, a support group for young Rwandan genocide survivors, their families, and even the criminals themselves, to help heal emotional wounds and regain a new life through dance, music, theater, and poetry.